Hello friends, welcome to my channel Go Digit. Today in this video we will learn about the use case of values allowed property with the enum object. So to check this concept, let me open up the Business Central web client, and here as you can see that this is the sales order list. If I open the sales order here, we can see that at the line level we have a type field of the sales line table which will show us or give us the options, uh, like we can select item, we can select resource, fixed asset, and based on that we can post our sales order. Now the thing is that these options are not directly a part of the sales line table object, but it's a part of the separate object called enum. Okay, and this, if I show you the enum object, for example, here in the L packages, I'll go to the baseline, and then if we see the sales line table, and if I search for type, so you can see here that uh, we are having multiple enum objects. For example, document type, which will show us the list of different types of sales document based on it is the order sales order or sales quotation and something like that. And if you see the type field here, we have this separate enum object called sales line type. And if I go to the definition here, then it will give us the list of all the options which we generally see in the uh, web client, which I just showed you, right? So these are the options available here. But the thing is, if I go up here and here is, if you can see this enum object also, we can directly see the list of all the enums which are comes by default in the base application. Along with that, we can create the custom enum objects in our own project. So for example, here I've created my own enum object, which is simply I've added some certain colors, names, and that's it. Nothing more fancy. Okay, so the requirement is, or the use case of this values allowed property is, in certain cases, uh, what we generally need is that rather than if you see that this enum object is having six options available. Okay, but I just want to limit the user's view to not only see uh, all the options, but to see limited options like only red or green or something like that, because certain process demands like that. Okay, if you're building any custom process and you don't want to show the or you don't want to use all the options in the particular enum object, then how we can limit that visibility, uh, we will see in the today's video on the basis of the values allowed property. So what we can do here is I'll create one new table and name it as enum test, and here I'll create one field as integer field, and second field will be uh, enum. Here we will use the base enum object, and then the third field also I will create, but here in this we will try to hide certain values, certain options of the base enum object. Same here, also I will create with the custom enum object also. We will see that if it also works like that or not. So colors test, and as we click on finish. Now I have one structure available for the table, but I need to add that which enum I want to use in my field. So for this, I want to use the sales line type only. And for here, I want to use colors. And same here, I want to use colors, right? So now my table is complete. On the basis of this table, I want to create one page. So I'll create one page object, and I'll select this one. Okay, card. Next, I'll add number, sales line type, sales line type test, colors, and colors test. Click on finish. So now I have the page with me. Now, as I mentioned earlier as well, that the requirement is that I want to see that if I can limit the visibility of both the base enum object or the custom enum object as well. And the values allowed property, if we see here, it is a part of both the table object, or we can use this for the table field as well and for the page field as well. So for the testing purposes, what I do here is that because in this particular field, I want to show up all the values of this standard enum. But for this case, I just want to hide certain values. So I can add this values allowed property here. And let's say I want to use only item and let's say resource, right? I just want to see only free values, although we have seen here that it has multiple options available. But I just want to limit the visibility with just only one or two options. Okay, now in this case, for the custom object, rather than I add the values allowed property here at the table level, I can try adding the values allowed property at the page level. So for this particular first field, I want to use all the objects. I want to see all the options. So I'm not going to add the values allowed property here. But for this, I want to, let's say I can add red, and the second one I can use as, okay, blue I can add. So go to the page, blue. All right. So these will be my limited options I want to set for my this particular field. Right? Let me build this project and see if I'm getting any error. No error, right? So this means that I can add this property at the table level and at the page level also. Okay, now what I do here is that rather than okay, so I have already set up the object ID as 50100. So let's directly run and see the output. So now let's say if I want to add one record number as one. So this is my field which is using the base enum object, and in this field I have not added the values allowed property. So if I drill this down and see that it has all the options available like GL account, item, resource, fixed asset, charge item, allocation account, and I can select any of the options. Right, now see the sales line type test. This is also using the base enum object, but for this field, I have added the values allowed property. So now see the difference that I'm getting only the two options or three options because the first option is the blank one. So I'm getting item, resource, or the blank. So I can select resource. But for the first field, I can select GL account also. I can select charge item also. No restriction. So you can see the clear difference that I am using the same base enum object for the two fields in the two fields. However, uh, I have already set the visibility limitation that based on the visual property, I can see only some options, right? So now let's see that whether this is working at the with the custom enum object as well, and because I have set the visual property in the page level. So this is the standard. This is the first field where I want to show up all the values. So here we can see that blank, red, green, blue, yellow, purple, all things are coming up. And I can select green as well. I can select blank as well. I can select purple as well. Now for this field, you can see that I am getting only the two options, either red or either blue. So I can set it as blue only or I can set it as red only, right? So the thing is, this limitation or the restriction which you add at the field level on the basis of that what you exactly wants to show up to your user in your custom processes. So we can set the same using the values allowed property. And this property is not limited for enum only, but we can use this property for any field. So for example, if you see this documentation here, which I will add in the description section as well. So here the requirement is that the use case is that it sets the values that are allowed in the field, right? We can do it at a table field, we can do it at the page field, which we have just seen. And now the thing is, this is like how we can, this is the syntax basically. But if you read this remark, they are saying that separate the values with a comma. So whatever values you want to set it up, you can separate them with the comma. And if you only want the user to enter, let's say 1, 3, or 5 in this field, enter 1, 3, 5 for this property. So for example, you are creating an integer field, which in our case we have created. Okay, this is the integer field, and here I've typed 1. Okay, so in this field also, let's say if I want to limit that I can or user can input only 1, 3, 5, so we can limit the same. But let's read this statement. The property setting is checked during the validation. So it is checked by the system at the time of validation when you input the value and then system validate that it actually correct number or not. Okay, so validation occurs only if the field or the control value is updated through the UI. Okay, so it works at the UI level. For example, if the value is updated on a page or if a field is updated in a table. But if a field is updated through application code, then the values allowed property is not validated, which means that if you set this property, for example, I've set the color test as red or blue or not any other thing. So this limitation you are setting up at the UI level, right? So but it does not mean at all that if you're writing the code and if you want to pass the values, let's say the purple value to this particular field, uh, you cannot do so. No, you can do so because this is what exactly the enum I am using at my table structure level, right? Because both this field and this field are using the same enum. That means both can use or all the options of this custom enum object or the base enum objects are available for these fields. It's just that we have set the visibility restriction. But along with that, if you are working, uh, if the user is working, because user is working on the user interface at the web client level, so validation will work definitely because that's how the use case of this property is. So that's all in the today's video. I hope now you understand the concept of this values allowed property, how we can utilize the same, along with how we can use the same uh, in order to hide the enum options. Okay, for either the base enum or for the custom enum at the table level and at the page level. So that's it in the current video. If you like it, please hit the like button and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching this video.